Okay. All right. Back. Got a good holiday on Monday. Okay, so this is the last topic for your project issue. So what we're going to do today, because it seems like you guys are still sort of trying to grasp the whole idea of conditional statements and changing things from one state to another and having some sort of interaction affect something else. So we're actually going to, in class, sort of build this a very simple version of this project, and then we will go on and flesh it out and make it a little more complicated, a little richer of an experience. So we're going to take it step by step, baby steps, because to any kind of program you write, you first need to break it down into little parts. So what we're going to have to do is create an interface that has buttons that you can click on to change the drawing state of the program. So before we do anything, let's focus on just the buttons. Let's just get a few buttons. Let's just get a few buttons on the screen and then have them react when you click on them. That'll be our very first step. So hopefully you remember how we detect a click inside of a circle. If you need review on this, there's a video in Canvas where I go over how to do that. But just for review, we have this function called disk, and it'll give you the distance between 2 points in pixels, and it takes X and a Y for 1 point, X and a Y for the other point. So by using this, we can detect, if we can detect the distance between 2 points, and we know the X and the Y of the circle, and we know the X and the Y of a click, we can get that distance and measure to see if it's larger than or greater than the radius of the circle. So if it's larger than the radius, then we have not clicked on the circle. If it's smaller than the radius, yes, we have clicked on the circle. So the way I usually do it is I'll say, then I'll just use D for distance. Let D equals distance, circle X, circle Y, mouse X, mouse Y. Okay, so now D is the value of this. And then we'll have an if statement that says if D is less than the width of the circle divided by 2, because we know the width of the circle, so it's half, radius is half of the diameter. If that, then do something. So what I do is, this is exactly how I would start this program. I would need to have it drawn to the screen. I would just have it output something in the console. That's how I break it down into little parts. Just make sure that one single part is working. Something's showing up in the console, okay? And then you know that if this is working, then that's where you're going to put the code that actually changes something in the program. Okay. So Let's go. We can do this. There we go. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay. And I'll make the font size a little bit bigger for you. Is that better? Turn the lights off. Okay, there we go. Okay, so okay. Okay, so we've got our blank canvas here. I'm going to, first I'm just going to draw one circle and I'm going to make some variables. So let button width. So for the size of the button, because I'm going to need to know the radius. So button width equals 30. Let button X equal, let's see, I'll make it 40 away from the side. Let button Y equal 40 away from there. What else do I need to know? X, Y. Okay. Okay, now I want this to happen on a mouse press. So when I click the mouse, so we're not going to put it in draw. If I put it in draw, it would just, you know, it would just respond to a hover because it's constantly checking it. So I'm going to put it in mouse press. And I'm going to say, let b equal dist button X button Y mouse X, oops, mouse X mouse Y. Okay, if b is less than button width divided by 2, then do something. So I'm just going to say console.log and then click. So it's just going to say click whenever I click on it. Okay, think this will work? Let's see. Oh, I haven't actually drawn the button to the screen. Duh, it would work if I clicked in on right where I'm going to draw the button, but I haven't actually drawn the button. So let's do that. Isn't it invisible buttons? That would be awesome. Let's see. 0, 0. And then oops. Button X, button Y, it, button it. What did I do wrong here? Okay, line 17. Oh, I forgot to write function here. I always do that. Okay, there I have my button up in the corner here. I'm clicking on the outside, nothing's happening. I click on the inside and I get the word click. And I click it again and then it keeps going. And then I click outside, nothing happens. Okay, so what I want you to do now is make 3 buttons, like in a row across or in a row down, wherever you want. There's an example of what we're doing in the exercise page in Canvas if you want to refer to it. But yeah, I want you to do this same thing for 3 buttons and make each of them, when you click on them, do something different or like write something different to the console so that we know which button we clicked on. Okay, go for it. Remember, I've only created one here. So I'm storing the value of X and Y in these 2 variables. If I make another button, I can't use those variables. Okay, so I'm going to have to do something to store another 2 sets of variables. Okay, so you're going to have to add to the top there. like you guys are kind of struggling with this. Right here, this is the X and Y for one button. Okay. Now you need X and Y for another button. Okay. So how do you store that information in something? Okay. You need to create another two variables. Okay. So you have the X and Y for button one. Now we need X and Y for button two, and then we're going to need X and Y for button three. We're going to have to create some more variables. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. This is going to stay there. That's the flat button. But then you're going to have another one of those. That's the next one. So you need to we can't use those variables because we're already using them for that button. So we need two more variables to draw and check. So that's the idea that you need to, well, you need to do this twice, right? Because on the mouse press, check one button and also check for the other button, and then also check for the third button. So you're gonna need to do that 3 times. Yeah, exactly. But you can't get to these variables because you already used them. Yeah. 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 Okay. Different for each one of you. So you can't just, right now you're checking me against one button. I'm gonna need us to do that. So you need to, yeah. Yeah. And like, oh. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not an alpha statement because that okay, of course, if you got it, so let me catch up real fast. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna change this to button 1X and then repeat that. I'm gonna change this to button 2X, button 2X, 3X, button 3Y. I need to draw those buttons, so change this to button 1, 1, button 2, button 2, button 3, button 3. I'm going to change the fill on these. Okay. Oh, I didn't change these values. Okay. So X is going to change, Y is going to be the same. So I'll move it over by 60. Okay, so I've drawn my 3 buttons right there. And I've got a different variable for each button, so I can keep track of each one's X and Y. So now all I'm doing is I'm taking this and I'm
copying and pasting it twice. And for each time, I've got to get rid of let here because you can't declare it twice. But that's fine, that doesn't cause a problem. And each time I'm checking for a different button. So this is button 2, button 2, button 3, button 3, and then I'm just going to have them say, just have this be 1, 2, and 3. So here we go. I click on this one, open up the console. I get 1, I get 2, I get 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So hopefully you can see that you're a large way there to creating this program, because now you have an interface where you can, you're basically, these are switches, right? They're switches. So now what you can do is you can just check and see if you know, you're changing between states here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right now I'm just logging out the numbers 1, 2, 3. But ideally, I would have a variable that would be keeping track of the number of the state. And I would use that variable and write a conditional statement that checks and sees what state am I in right now. And if I'm just changing the color, I would say, okay, if I'm in state 1, then the current color is yellow. If I'm in state 2, the current color is pink. If I'm in state 3, the current color is what am I trying to say? Ooh, yeah, or yellow, magenta, cyan, if you want. So what's the next step here? Once we get this working, we know we've got this working, we've got a system in place already. So now we got to think, okay, what do we want to have happening on the screen? So remember last time we learned how to make something draw. We could do anything. We could have it and just repeat a circle around the screen, kind of like the, you know, what the default sketch that pops up. We could have it draw squares on the screen. We could have it do squares and a little bit random around, so it's kind of like a scatter brush or something like that. Many different things we could do. Right now, let's just focus on a line, just a simple line. You can get more creative with it when you're doing your project. So do you remember how we draw a line to the screen? We did it last time. Remember, there's mouse X and mouse Y, but there's also P mouse X, previous mouse X, and previous mouse Y. And with just one line of code, we can make that happen. So if you remember last time, we put it in a mouse dragged event because we only want it to happen when the mouse is being dragged. So it's just line, mouse, X, mouse, Y, mouse, X, E, mouse, Y. And then right now I have no stroke on, so we're not going to be able to see it. So let me just turn off no stroke for now. Or I'll just turn the stroke back on when I'm drawing here. So I'm going to say Stroke. Right now, I'm just going to make it black, but we want that color to change moving on. But now we just want to make sure we can draw. And then I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Okay. So now, oh, what's wrong here? What did I forget to do? What I forgot to do? Why is it just drawing like that? Remember? I forgot to what? Why is it erasing each? It's drawing one line and then erasing all of the other ones. What did I forget to do? Yeah, the background. I have the background redrawing every single time through the loop. So it's, you know, drawing one line and it's wiping it out, and it's drawing another line and it's wiping it out. So I got to turn that off. Okay, so we're drawing. Okay, so what I want you to do now that you have this system set up where you can change the state when you click on each button, use that. You're gonna have to put that into a variable, you know. So instead of just constantly log, you change the value of the variable to whatever state you're in. And then somewhere in the code, you're gonna need to write something that's gonna change the stroke color, that's gonna change the stroke color depending on what state you're in. So we did this last time, except we changed the background color. Every time you clicked on the button, the background color changed. So it's very similar. You're just gonna have an if else statement that is going to change the stroke color every when you click on different buttons. So I'm gonna let you give that a shot right now. They're all going to be why? Oh, yes. Oh, 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 just change it. Yes. Yeah. I'll try to change it. You can fix that by. So now you want to more in here, change somehow change color of the stroke. Well, you want to change the speed. And then it's talking about checking the state and yeah, give it a remember when we did it where you were changing the background color? And we had to really think about, you know, what actually changes the background color? Where do we set the background color? And the answer is, well, right here in this line right here, background 255, that sets the background color. So what we had to do last time is we had to create a variable that's going to store whatever color background we're using at that moment. So I think last time we used current color, something like that. And then when the state changes, the background color, the variable changes according to what state we're in. So now how would you apply that same method to the color of the stroke?
Yeah. I mean, I understand.
Okay, wait. I think it's good practice.
No, that was an actual question.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, this should be enough. Yeah, that's what. How I know. Yeah. The story of that, right? So. Which could be less than food, so it doesn't really make sense to like, what would they find? And then, so someone proposed that change as So where would you change value, where do you want, when do you want it? Yeah, exactly. Look, specifically in the state changes. So you want two variables, you want one to be figure. You want another variable to be of what color that change that's. So first focus on before we look at color, fix this so that instead of going to the console, it changes the value of you write something that changes the color. Yeah. Yeah. So the current color is going to change. So let's focus on setting for the black variable change that. Wait. This so so you have to set it to something start off. I say just comment that out for now. Focus on so so where right now you just but you got the right there. So you just have an option. So add that one. So emotional that I think you get there. You just have changing the values. So now you have that. So that's the one. Yes, these are Right now, we're not.
Why does it do that?
One thing I need to remind you, I don't know if you remember, but so like I just said before, the last time we did this, we created a variable. Called current color. And then we used when we were doing the background, it's not what we're doing right now, but we used that one here. So I can't make this an RGB color. Remember, to use a variable to actually equal a color, we have to use that special kind of variable where you use the keyword color. So, but I can't use it until the program started, so I'm gonna have to set it here. Current color equals, and then I put the word color and then RGB value. So I should have a yellow background. There we go. But that's not what we're doing, but that's a hint to what you will be doing. I'm storing a color value inside of a variable by doing this. Except this time I'm putting it in draw. You want to use it somewhere else. You want to use it in the location that actually changes the value of and the color of the script. What line of code determines what color the script is going to be? That's where you're going to want to use that variable. So if you're totally stuck, think about it this way, break it down into pieces. First thing you want to do is create that variable that's keeping track of what state you're in. Don't worry about changing the color yet. Just make a variable that changes value. Let's say 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that when you know, same thing as when you clicked on it in a console or something. Instead of consoling something, it's going to change the value. You can call it state. I can call it state. Every time you click on a button, it's changing the value of state. And then you can console the value of that to make sure it works. So start with that very small piece. And then from there, once you have a variable that you can always use it to check what state you're in, then you can pretty easily write some code that says, if we're in state 1, change the color to this. If we're in state 2, change the color to this. If we're in state 3, change the color to this. But first, work on getting that state variable to work. To change the value. Does that make sense? Kinda, sorta. Mhm. Okay, you're just gonna have to turn the stroke off before you draw the circle. So up here. Oh, you have the stroke. Oh, you don't have it. Yeah, you don't have it there. Yeah. That's right. So see how we have if state equals 0, change the color. If state equals 1, change if state equals 2. Except we're not cycling through, we're just checking for the state. We're not changing. That's where you change. But there's someone puts on this side. You got that. You just combine them. One and actually going to be more useful if you separate it out to a whole new statement. That's just it's not the things but I'm trying to pull check the engine.
Right.
Well, you have to work.
Right.
But you're gonna find it more useful, more things. If you have a full statement that checks for the state that can and then so let's just separate it out right now. So instead of doing it here, and do what? Yeah, you can check it out.
Oh.
Yeah. Exactly. And then else there. Else. Check the third one. Okay. That with that color. And the exact state of the state. So where do you want to take the change? Where do you want to take the change? Yeah, so that's where right now you're just console log. Why don't you change that? Change the state. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Color change. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to have a variable that's above state. So the first step is as you have something that you check what state you're in, and you can do all sorts of things based on what state you're in. So like you click on pink, that changes the state to two. You put on blue, that changes the state. So, but we need a variable to hold that. But they will have to start. So here's where you want. This is where stuff happens when you click on the different buttons. So here is where you're going to change depending on the button. So if you click on this button, that means you want it to be 20. Click on this button, you want it to be 22. Click on this button. So that's the value. We have a variable like f equals 5. Okay. How do you change that? Like, some log just puts text. Well, we want to change the value. So like, it's not long version over.
I'm sure it's like super simple.
No, this is all working. Okay, checking to see if maybe know that we're test it on console. So now, and right where that goes, do this what you put that one goes firing. So that is where we want a right there. So how about we say that's where right here, when we click on here, it's firing out console.log. So that tells us that whatever we put in that place right there. So what do we want to happen? Oh, that is replace console.log. Replace that with, yeah. So now let's just test for down here. That's working. Now you have a switch with a function. And the mouse is it's where it's through. So you need to write a whole new if statement that just says if the current color is if two current color. Yeah. But you're gonna have to write a full meter. That's additional. You're gonna have to couple people, so that's what their values. And color is start out. Now down here, it's going to be one. And, well, it's there. What color you know? What state? Now, right here is where you check to see what state they're in. So if you want to check to see if right? That. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You do eventually want to use the press to clear the background, but we actually want to change the color. Right now, you're checking to see which is press to change the color. We want to do it by clicking on the button. Let me go ahead and walk you through this. Okay, so as you can see right now, I have a variable called current color, and I'm starting it out as yellow. Okay, we're going to leave that there for now and come back to it. First, we want to make sure that that variable state is changing when we're clicking on it. So I'm going to have to make a variable state. I'm going to start it out at 1. And I'm deciding right now that state 1 is yellow, state 2 is pink, state 3 is blue. Okay, so where do I want this? When do I want the state to change? I want it to change when the buttons are being pressed on. So if I press on the yellow one, it changes to 1. If I press on the pink one, it changes to 2. So we know that we have code here that's working. This this whole thing here is working. It's changing. This console log is firing off. If I press the first one, then this code gets fired off. If I press the second one, then this code, oops, gets fired off. And then, so that's telling me that whatever I put right here is gonna happen. It's gonna run. So what do I want to happen? What do I want to happen there? I want the value of state to change, you know, depending on which button was pressed on. So this is where I'm going to say, and how do you change the value of a variable? You just make it equal to something new. I can make it equal to anything. I can make it equal to the word dog if I wanted to. So I'm going to say state. So if the first button is pressed on, I'm going to say state equals 1. If the second button is pressed on, I'm going to say state equals 2. And then a third one. Okay, so let's check that on the mouse press. Okay, so let's check that now. So I should be getting the numbers 1, 2, and 3. So open the console. There. So that's working. So now I have a variable that is going to tell me whenever I want. I can ask the program, hey, are we in state 1? Are we in state 3? Are we in state, you know, what state are we in? And if we're in that state, what do we want to change? What do we want to happen? Okay. With me so far? Yeah, okay, so we've got a way to check and see what state we're in. So now we ask ourselves, okay, if we can check, what do we do to make it change color depending on what state we're in? Well, whenever the mouse is pressed, or whenever the mouse is dragged, is when we want the color to change, right? When the mouse is being dragged. So we can put something in the mouse dragged function that says, if we're in state 1, draw a yellow line. If we're in state 2, draw a pink line. If we're in state 3, draw a blue line. So I'm going to go down here to mouse dragged. And I'm going to write that conditional statement. So if state is equal to 1, remember we use the double equals. The difference between double equals and the single equals is that a double equals is comparing two things to see if it's true or false. Whereas a single equals is changing the value of a variable. So right now we're not saying make state number 1. We're saying is state number 1. That's the difference there. Really important difference. So if the state is 1, what color do we want it to be? We want it to be basically yellow, what we just set it to. Okay. Now, what do we do next to check for state 2? So remember, if we do if else's, it's the computer's just going to go down the row until it finds one that is true, and then it's going to fire up that one. So if state equals 1, it's just going to stop there and make it yellow. And then if we say else, if state equals 2, else if state equals 2, that's where we want to change the color to pink. So current color equals color 2550255. And then the last one is, well, there's only 3 choices, so I can say else if state equals 3, but if it's not 1 or 2, it's gonna be 3. So all I have to do is say else. And then here I say current color equals color. So okay, so let's test for current color. Oops, wait. So let's make sure this is working. Okay, I'm dragging and it's telling me, yeah, right there, it's telling me the color. It looks kind of funny because it's what's called an object, but it's giving me the information that I need. So I click it here, then I click this, and I'm getting, well, it looks like the same thing. I can't really tell unless I click down to here. Yeah, right there it says 2550255. Don't worry, you don't have to be able to read that. So I've got this working. State is changing, current state is changing, current color is changing. So now I have to use that variable that's holding this, that's holding the color information. Where do I put that variable in order to change the color of the stroke? Where would I put that? Yeah, in stroke. Right here. So it's drawing yellow. I click this, it's drawing pink. I click this, it's drawing, oops, is that one not working? Oh, my blue's not working. What did I do there? Oh, I didn't have the double equal sign there. Oops. There we go. Oh, do you notice this? Watch if let me make this. Wait. Oops. So if I draw pink and then I change it to yellow, the first line draws pink. Notice that before it changes yellow. And that's because I'm drawing before I'm checking for the state. So it's still going to be the old color and then it's going to change the color. So I need to change the order in which these are fired off. So I'm going to take this and move it down here. And now that should fix that. Yeah, okay, that fixed that. Okay. Okay. So far so good. Read more sense. See it in action. So the reason we're putting it in a separate
we're putting it in a separate conditional statement here. Instead of just changing the color on the button press, is now that allows us to do different things. So now I could say, I could do this. I could take this and put it inside of here. And then so this one's going to draw a line. This one is going to draw an ellipse. So mouse X, mouse Y, 10, 10. So now if it's in state 2, it's not going to draw a line, it's going to draw circles. So line, and then now circles. Oh, it's still drawing the line too. Oh, that's weird. Look, it's giving me blue circles and pink circles. And whoa, what is going on there? I don't know if you can see that. That is funky. I'm gonna have to debug that. Hold on. Why is it doing that? Oh, because I didn't turn off the other ones. So I need to say, oh, right. Still doing it. That's weird.
You have a code at the bottom.
Oh, I still have it down there. Oh, thank you. Still don't know why it's drawing blue. Why is it drawing blue when I press the pink one? Why is it drawing blue? Okay, the next step I'll let you work on right now is to make it clear the screen when you hit, let's say, the space bar or any key or something like that. Because part of this assignment is you need to have buttons that change to drawing mode, and you need to have some way to clear the screen. And that could be a button, or it could be a key press. If it's a key press, your interface, the interface that you're creating needs to indicate somehow to the user that that function is available. So you might have to put some text in there, or you create an icon or something like that. So, get creative with your interface. Use more than 3 colors. 3 colors is kind of boring. Add a few more colors. You can play around with different drawing modes. You could have it change the color, and you can give it the option of drawing different kind of shape or something like that. So get creative with it. Like another thing I could do is let's see, instead of ellipses here, I'm going to say line mouse X plus and then we can Hmm. Why isn't this working? Another fun thing to do is you can change the weight of the stroke based on how fast the line is going. So whatever the distance between the 2 points is, you could have that affect the stroke weight. So you could say something like this. Mouse X. You know, the distance between the two is actually going to, and I probably have to round that down a bit. We'll just try it this way. So the faster I go, see how the thicker the line gets. It's kind of a cool effect. So I'm just taking the distance between the 2 points and making that the width of the line, the weight of the line, I mean. So you get like slower is a little line, and then I can probably want to tone that down a bit. Divide it by 5. That's a little bit better, not quite as thick, but that's kind of cool. So yeah, so you can use this whole conditional statement to do all sorts of things. Okay. Okay. I have to go. It's about 25. So, on Friday, we're working on this on Friday, class time, and I will be on Zoom, to help you out with your code. Just use the same Zoom link that we've been using in Canvas. And, yeah, and make something really interesting, get creative, make it beautiful. You can draw with typography if you want. I put some code in Canvas that showed you how to do that. You can have the colors changed on key press events if you want, you know. If you press number 1, you know, something happens, you press number 2, something happens. You could do that if you wanted to. So, anything you want, go back and look at the examples from students from year, I can't remember what year that was. But that link is inside, I think, the last section that we did. There's a page with a link to other students' old work. You can go in there for inspiration. Okie dokie. Yeah, it's the same one we did today.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and submit what you have to the collection 9 and open processing, because that's the only exercise you did today. So whatever you got through, just submit that. Okay.